Hey everybody, Frank Markow here. I will be your instructor for this class entitled Contemporary Approaches to Leadership, which begins next week. Uh, I'm sending this out a week early. Don't freak out if you're watching this and thinking, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to do something." This is your week heads up. Um, so I'm just kind of going to briefly go through some key items for the class just so you can get ready for the class. So, as you know, for some of you, this is your introduction to the MOL program. And I want to welcome you. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the King's University. Welcome to my class. And for some of you, you're continuing on in the program. You may have started the semester previous and you're just starting to move along in the program in your first year, no doubt. And some of you may be visiting from another program. I welcome all of you guys to the class. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. You probably can't see all the titles over here, but probably a majority of those books over there are focused on leadership, organizational leadership. My terminal degree is in the topic of organizational leadership, which is the topic of this class. And, no doubt some of you, all of you have probably read somewhat on leadership. You've been to conferences. You may have been a leader for a while, and you might be thinking, why do I need to take a class on leadership? Well, first of all, this is going to be an in-depth look at the academic study of leadership. And so perhaps you've read some pop press books, but this is going to be a deep dive, if you will, into all things leadership as has been studied over the past 100 years. What we know is effective leadership, about effective leadership. So it kind of goes beyond some of the, anecdotal superstar leader, bio kind of thing, but really digs into some of the more well-researched, theoretically grounded, empirically tested approaches to leadership. Now, that might kind of sound dry and boring. So you thought leadership was this exciting, glamorous thing. Well, hopefully, your leadership is exciting and glamorous in your own context. But you're going to understand what good leadership looks like, what it doesn't look like, how leadership is studied, the evolution of thinking about leadership. They've been looking at it for a while, as I mentioned, the past 100 years or so. It used to sort of be a small little subset under management. It's one of the things that managers do, right? And it's also part of the field of organizational behavior, which some of you have studied in this program. But it's really emerged as sort of I call it the crown jewel of management and the crown jewel of organizational studies. And so it's developed as a valid topic in and of itself. And of course, you know how popular it is just based on the level of attention it gets in our culture and how we focus on leaders and we dawdle over leaders and we blame leaders, we vilify them or we raise them up. Churches have great leaders. And so anyhow, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but I just want to welcome you to this class and let you know I'm excited to work with each of you. Now, let me share some to-dos, if you will, about this class. So the class begins next week, Monday morning. Blackboard is open now, but you'll expect it to get in and participate next week. And then, of course, we have our residency coming up here as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on campus. The beginning of the week will be Dr. Moore and his renewal theology class. And then the latter part of the class, Thursday and Friday will be my class and I'll be with you guys. So you're going to have a great experience here on campus and I'm looking forward to being with you. Now, because a lot of the contact hours, we call it, are going to be met in that residency, so approximately 16 hours. This online class doesn't have to be as heavy as most of the online classes, right? Because a lot of that time is being made up. However, we will have some work before residency, so starting next week, and then afterwards, just to have touch points to follow up and to allow you to interact with each other and with me throughout the 7 weeks of the course. All right. So next week we'll have just sort of an introductory get to know you kind of thread. There's a requirement. We have to have participation that first week of course, first week of the term, just to demonstrate that you intend to be in the class. This is for financial aid and registrar's purposes. But I think it's also good for us just to jump in, even though the residency's a couple weeks away, to jump in and get to know each other and touch base about the class. So Monday morning, I'll post something for you about what's expected next week. Again, it won't be anything too heavy, but just a touch base and introductions. A couple of textbooks, hopefully you have by now. Leadership in Christian Perspective, written by a colleague of mine, Justin Irving, and his colleague, Mark Strauss. Great book. This is a great introduction to leadership. And what they do is they take a lot of these main theories that we'll be talking about in the class, and they give them a Christian perspective, as the title might suggest. And so I jump into this book right away. I know you're not going to be able to read it all by residency. I have a reading schedule, by the way, in the syllabus. So if you're eager to see what's due by when, but you will have to read that whole book by a certain date about halfway through the class. And then the other main textbook is one that I've been using for a long time, and a lot of universities use this, Leadership by Peter G. Northouse. Now, this copy is a 7th edition. I believe they're up to the 8th or 9th edition. It might even be the 10th or 11th. I kind of lose track. You know, these textbook publishers, they get you every couple of years to buy a new book. And they do update it from time to time. Of course, they update it, chapters. And this really is more like a reader. Each chapter focuses on a different leadership theory as they've sort of developed and evolved over the years. So if you could read a couple chapters in Northouse, first chapter minimum, as much as you can get done in that. They're all going to be due by the end of the semester. So go ahead and jump in there. So as I mentioned, this is going to be a brief video. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. Again, welcome to the class. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Again, welcome to your new MOL students, to the returning MOL students, and then any of the visiting students from other programs. Excited to be with you. Frank Markow here. Dr. Markow, or Dr. M, is my preferred nickname. And if you have any questions or comments, just reach out to me through the platform. My email and contact information is in there. I believe my phone number is in there as well. You're free to bug me, email me, text me, carrier pigeon me, however you want to get in touch with me. I'm yours for the next 7 or 8 weeks here through this class. So God bless you guys, and we'll see you next week when we begin our class in earnest. Take care.